All right, guys, 6 through 10. Looks like defence is certainly very good there. Apologies that I can't seem to get on the right foot. Golden Gorge was what looks to certainly beaten the first, and the winner could easily have been found, but just the way the track was. And then you go back now and look at how the next two have won hard fence and wonder how it's possibly done what it has. That Markovic is obviously flying, and the inside certainly looks like an advantage, and you would only think will dry out during the day. So looking for those on the fence, in behind, obviously wary that they could start to overdo it from now on, but still got to target those sorts of horses and try and pick your spots where there are runners that can sort of put pressure on that maybe otherwise you wouldn't have expected if there wasn't a solid advantage in front. So race 6 is a tricky race. It's a race where sort of Casino Kid looks like it's the one going the best. It's very difficult to work out how Crystal Pegasus, off sort of a battling first up run, can be favourite over Casino Kid, who was an extraordinary win really. Obviously the pattern's a big problem for it, especially if it gets as far back as it has been. Draws a nice gate today, and down in the weights hopefully it can hold a closer position and then is the one to beat. But if not, probably So Wicked, you've got to go looking for it. Drops in grade a bit weak late the other day, but these Waller horses can tend to pick up at times, and especially at their home track. So you'd expect So Wicked to be hard to beat here. I'd much rather take $6 or $7 it than $2.70 for Crystal Pegasus. Mitre Metro should be up on speed too and should run well. I think, if you're betting in the race, it's probably around Mitre Metro and So Wicked, who should control the tempo and do look, fair enough odds for horses that will control the tempo. Casino Kid's the closer, but where will it be in the run? And $4 is probably a bit short, but the horse is absolutely flying, very similar to Markowitz earlier in the day. So bit of a punish race 6. Race 7's the Expressway Stakes. All important, the tactics here. I think that Bellucci Bay will probably lead and Overpass will sit outside it, but there's got to be a big chance, especially the way that 2-year-old of Freedman's was ridden early in the day there, that they might have a shot for the front with Forbidden Love, and that really brings Forbidden Love into the race. Bellucci Babe's not that fast early. We saw that last start, and if Forbidden Love got the jump on it and jumped straight to the front, it can certainly run a huge race here. Standout's the one who gets the rails draw and probably follows whoever does find the front, you would imagine. That makes it for a very good position for Standout. I'm not sure how far back Animo gets. I doubt that today's really on their radar of, they're not going to want to bust him to put him into a position, and they'll probably just ride him wherever he's comfortable and hope that the speed's on enough to bring him into the race at the right time, which is possible now. You can really see him starting to overdo tempos potentially, but there's no real leader here, so I think whoever does jump will control the speed. So like from a quaddie perspective or something like that, I couldn't bet in the race with confidence. If I'm watching it, whatever jumps I want to be on. If it's if Forbidden Love led, I want to back it. So say it's $6.57 now, I'd be happy to take $5 if it led. Standout's going to get a right run, it doesn't win out of turn. I'm probably putting Standout, Forbidden Love, Bellucci Babe. I doubt Overpass can sit outside the leader and win, but maybe I throw it in for a smaller percentage with Animo or something if you want to stay alive. But actually, what am I talking about? It's not even in the quaddie. Next, it is the first look at the quaddie. Sorry, yeah, that's probably how I play it. Race 8, Canasta most likely leads. It certainly took its time to get to the front the other day, but the horses drawn inside it today are slow, and Holyfield's unlikely to really press too hard, but it's the only horse I could see leading Canasta. King's Air probably sits right behind him. What does Omaji do? Who knows? No one ever knows. Yee tries to kick up from the inside draw, and it's got to be the one to beat. It's sitting right behind two horses that it has a better turn of foot than. I'm going broke chasing Waller horses off good runs, and Waller horses that have had good turns of speed and then all of a sudden become insanely one pace. So I can't chime into $2.25 or whatever it is, but on paper it has to be the one to beat. Canasta runs well again, King's Air runs well again. I think they're the three main ones. You've got Wairiri Falls and Omaji trying to overcome probably what is an average tempo and from a bit more difficult challenging position than those that Yee and King's Air should have. So it should be between King's Air, Yee, and if Canasta gets a nice time of it in front, I'd expect it to run well too. Race 9, Rule of Law, just looks to jump straight to the front. The Bopper's the only other one probably capable of leading. I doubt that Ranges is fast enough to cross Rule of Law, and from that position, Rule of Law has to be the one to beat. The question is whether the Bopper put in a flat run second up and can improve off that and sit outside Rule of Law and beat it. And your second question is, can Tamerlane hold the back of Rule of Law? And if they overdo it up front, can it be the one that capitalises on those two cutting at each other? I think Rule of Law is extremely difficult to beat here, just absolutely flying. Don't see 1200 metres being an issue, especially on this track. With his fitness set up, he's just going too well. He ticked another box last start, sitting outside the leader and doing the work, carting another horse that sat behind it, and it's pulled off its back even though it was first up and fought it off quite well. It's just ticking all boxes at the moment, Rule of Law, and has to be the one to beat. I think unless they really do cut each other, I think he'll outsprint Tamerlane, who's a pretty one-paced type that'll settle behind it. So for me, Rule of Law and Tamerlane's the knockout in race 9. The last Nevaeh is another race where it doesn't look like there's too many Apaches that can spoil the party of Nevaeh's. Secretively, he's on a 14-hour backup or a 16-hour backup or something from last night, and probably has the speed to get in the way, but it's just a pretty brutal effort to want this horse to back up and then go out and pressure a Waterhouse known leader. So Ulysses is the one likely to find the back of Narvaez, and that certainly brings it into the race. Thought it went okay first up, but this is far more suitable and a far more suitable position that it'll find. Van Giz is the one. It's the one that's drawn the inside. If it holds 3 back the fence or behind the leader even, because it is rapidly up in distance. We're talking about a horse that's sort of sat close to the speed over shorter journeys previously, has been jagged back from some wide draws, and certainly had no luck in a much harder race the other day at the Gold Coast. There were some weak races at the Gold Coast the other day, but Snap Dancer's race was not one of them. It's a pretty good horse, Snap Dancer, so I'd be backing it to win this race. There's no doubt about that. So for me, I think those 3, a bit like Harold Park there, whoever finds the rails 1, 2, 3 should be the ones to beat. Nevaeh gets its chance to control, but it's a pretty one-paced horse, and it's going to have to hold off Ulysses and Van Giz, and Van Giz is the one for me. If it gets clear air trailing through up that fast rail, it'll be hard to beat. It's got the best turn of foot. All right, guys, thanks. Good luck.